Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I haven't made a video for absolutely ages, as I'm sure you've noticed. The last one I made was of some work I did at the beginning of the year. I realised when I was looking through some of the footage that I hadn't actually broadcast any of that stuff, purely because I really wanted to get on with the safari roof. And I think a lot of you wanted to see this get done as well. So yeah, I haven't done a video for a while. So the reason why I haven't been doing much on YouTube is because of work. I have a project up in Hamburg which I've mentioned in the past, which is coming to a close now, and it's been taking up a lot of my time. Essentially I've been up there for weeks at a time, just coming down for the weekends, and other than that, you know, it's been summertime, we've been on holiday for 2 weeks, and I've also done a huge amount of work on the X5. So we actually drove down to Croatia with the X5, and in order to do that, because I think I did about 3,200 kilometers, so it was a long drive, but I had to do a lot of work on the X5. So that included a lot of suspension parts. I did a clutch and a flywheel, all here using the lift. I did a lot of work on the power steering system, on the cooling system. I did a full service. I did front and rear differentials, new fluids, gearbox fluid. I did engine oil, a complete service. I spent about £2,000 on parts, but obviously, you know, just on parts, that's a lot of money, but had I put that through a garage, I'm sure that the bill would have come to like £5 grand, purely because the work I was doing was really labour intensive. But it drove really well. It drives really well now. I mean, doing all those fluid changes alone did a huge amount. I also changed a seal on the rear differential, a CV boot on the front. Quite a lot of work, which was quite fiddly. But the biggest job by far was taking out the transmission. That was a massive job, but really learned quite a lot about the car and the way it's put together in the process. So that was really good. I've got all of that on camera, and I don't know if any of you are interested in seeing it, but I think I'll probably put it together as a compilation and upload it at some point. But anyway, back to the Land Rover. So I came up today for the first time in absolutely ages, wanting to do some work on the Land Rover, but I got sort of sidetracked and started tidying up the garage, because over that period of time, the 6 months that I have been here on and off, but also through the time that I was working on the X5, it got really messy. So I spent a couple of hours today tidying up, but then of course there's no time left to work on this. So what I thought I'd do is I still found some even older footage about small things, small items which I had done, and I'll show you those now. You'll notice and you'll recognise that it was about a year ago, because you know, the safari roof isn't on, and there are various things that I've done since then which you'll notice aren't on the car. So, but I'll show you that anyway, because it's part of the story and I think you probably want to see it, so I'll show that now. But with regards to going forward with this, I really want to get the MOT, or the German TÜV, done. I can't do that until I get it running properly, and the last major job that I've got to do is to get it running properly. So Steam Wally, if you're watching, I could really do with your opinion and maybe some tips, because I know you've spent a lot of time on your Land Rover getting that running nicely, so I'd really appreciate your input. At the moment it's running pretty rough. When I start it from cold on even a warm day, it chugs black smoke, yeah, I've really got to get to the bottom of it. Maybe it's a timing issue, maybe it's sucking in air somewhere along the lines. I did discover, as you remember from one of the videos before, that there's a gap on the downpipe to the manifold of the exhaust system, so that's the next job I've got to do. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to get it on the lift. I'm going to get up underneath there and see if the downpipe is actually fitting to the manifold, because you know, it's a new stainless steel system, but maybe it's not as good as a standard or an original Land Rover item, because it's not original. So I've got to check that out, put it all back together. I've got to do the timing, and I'll walk you through it when I actually do that work. So But otherwise, it's all fine. I just took it for a drive around this place. I got it warm, nice and warm, and it's working. It's driving pretty well. I noticed I've got on either side here of the rear axle, the gaskets are a little bit dry, possibly, and I've got some oil, spinning out onto the wheel. Not much, but a little bit. In fact, I can show you that now. On this one, I think this one's worse actually, but that's standard stuff. And I think when I first had this when I was 17, the only reason why it ever stopped spinning the oil out was probably because there was no oil in the differential. But on this side as well, you can see here there's quite a little puddle there actually that had collected, and it seems to be coming out of this here, out of this seam here. So I'm sure something's not quite tight enough there or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean it's other than that, it's running all right. Once I drive it, it runs okay. But you can see here on the exhaust, it's pretty sooted up here, which means far too much unburnt fuel coming out of the system. So that is the next big job. You may remember that I did this as the last job here earlier in the year. That was the second to last video I did, I think. Fixing all of this. I've done all of that work on the other side, on the near side, the passenger side, but I haven't put in that stay there, and I haven't painted all of the or cleaned up all of the wheel wells. So I've got to do that at some point soon. But otherwise, just so you can look around here, I've done a lot of tidying up. Focus there. The workshop is looking pretty tidy. There's the other roof there. Don't really know what to do with that, unless miraculously I end up with another project which needs a hard top. But if there was a second project that I was going to do, it would be a 109. So I think some of you have seen me post a couple of pictures. Have I done any of a 109? I can't remember. Maybe they've all been short wheelbases. But if I was doing another project, I would definitely do a 109, and maybe think about how we could use it for camping and stuff. I was also looking at Ford controls. They're pretty cool, but I don't think I'll end up doing one of those. They're so expensive to buy in the first place. But yeah, anyway, I digress. So the workshop's looking pretty tidy. Made a little corner over here. The welder under there, tidied all that up. And oh yeah, I've got some extra tools here as well, which I've been using. I've used them mainly on the X5, a compressor here with an impact gun, and those sorts of tools really make those sort of big jobs really easy. I could have really done with those sorts of tools when I was doing this from the start, but it's the way it is. Your garage sort of grows along with you, and it's taken a few years to get this far. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll show you the footage now of the bits and bobs that I did about a year ago. Or it's just a bit less than a year ago. I think it was November last year I did those things. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to finishing this project with you all soon. Take care. Okay, so I'm back working on the Land Rover today, and I've got a couple of finishing touches just before I put it through the MOT. So one of which is not really essential for the MOT, but makes it a lot easier to get in and out, which are these handles, original handles, which I've always wanted to put on here. So these are them, and what I've got to do is, they come with little nuts and bolts, and these screw holes in the door aren't quite big enough, but they do line up. So they're the original screw holes where the original handles would have gone. So I'm just going to drill those out and make them fit. Okay, well that's that then. You can't actually get the ratchet or the socket on the end of that for the last part because there's not enough space between the bolt and the handle, but I'll just get a little spanner on there and finish that off. But that is great. Finally, I've got some handles on the inside of the doors. I'll do the other side now. Okay, so the other thing I bought was a Brit-part fuel sender, so the fuel gauge within the tank. I refitted, in fact I fitted a second-hand one that I'd got as part of the build, which I thought was going to be better than the one that was in there. But unfortunately the one that was in there, which I think probably worked, I left in England, so I thought rather than messing about, I'll get a new one, and I'm going to fit that now. Currently the one that's in there, although I think the tank is probably half full, it doesn't even register on the gauge. So I'm going to try this. This is about £20, and see how we get on. So you can see if I'm just going to show you how this works. So there's about half a tank of fuel in there, and that should go up. On the right hand side there doesn't even budge. If I turn it off again, it should drop. Nothing at all. So let's replace it and see if it changes anything. So I've taken the seat out, and now I'm just going to take the sender out and replace that with a new one. The old one out and got the new one out of the box, and to be absolutely honest, I don't actually know how it works, because this is a very simple design. Here it is, lovely, just attached as one piece, but the new one comes with two sections, so I'm guessing maybe these little clips in here are used to join these two together, but yeah, I don't know why they have to make it so complicated, but we'll see. Maybe it's an extendable thing for a long wheelbase and a short wheelbase version, but I'll see if I can get it together. Okay, so I've got that all connected up, and now for the moment of truth. So let's have a look. Got a bit of reflection in here, but there we are over there. Let me try and get that in the dark. There we go. We're going up. We're going up. Yeah, it's working. Very slowly. But I remember when I used to drive it, God knows 20 years ago, it used to go up really slowly. Let's give it a bit of a wobble. I tell you what, I really don't like the contraption that I just put in there, really. It's, you know, you choose the item which says on the website, you know, Series 3 short wheelbase, and I don't know, why can't it just be the same as what came out of there? It's got this very fiddly method of fitting the two arms together, which doubles up the metal in the arm and presumably just makes it much heavier. So it's very strange. Not that pleased with it, but if it works, I guess, then happy days. It certainly works better than it did before. So a quarter full, excellent. I thought it was more than that, but actually looking into the tank like I just did now, it's about right. So quarter full, and that's about right. So you can see this here. This is the one of the little caps that goes on the petrol tank. You know from the videos that I refinished this petrol tank entirely, but you can see here at some point when I've been driving around, the petrol's been leaking out past this this cap here and running down and taking off the paint. So I just took it off and found that there was no gasket between the metal plate and the tank. So what I've done is I've just taken some of my gasket paper, made up a gasket, and I'm going to put that in there now. I've put some grease on it, and I'm going to put that back in, and then I'll paint it again. Okay, so I've put that cap back in, and I'll have to find some black paint at another point, because I actually haven't gotten it at the moment. I think I've got a bit of stone chip left, but that won't really cut the mustard, so I'll have to get some more and then open it up and do it again. But otherwise, that is that fuel tank now finished. So secure, airtight, watertight, and petrol tight, if you like, and a working gauge. So one other job jobbed. Also, I just mentioned these earlier. I put these on, and actually the feeling of
sitting in the Land Rover and closing the doors with these is so much easier. For all the time I've had this car, I've always grabbed under there and closed it. But this is such a simple thing, and it makes it so much nicer just to close, because you actually get a better grip, obviously, and you get a better pull, so you close the door much more firmly. So I'll demonstrate that to you in a minute. Okay, so I appreciate this might seem to be a bit of a silly exercise for some people, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you how much better you can close the doors using these handles here. I notice this door top wobbles like hell, so I think I actually might need to tighten that up here, but it's got a much more firm close. So I'm very pleased with that. It's the small finishing touches that count.